While the courageous and fearless lion keeps challenging the status quo of the imperialism, neocolonialism and shackles that have long kept the kingdom down from progress, the attention of the status quo is now channeled towards the head of the lion. Now, what does this mean? Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 36-year-old Burkina Faso's president, has long ago challenged the status quo, neocolonialism and imperialism going on in Africa, and this is the reason the West is against him. Hello buddy, welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the stories shaping our continent and world at large. Today, we're tackling a shocking report coming out of Burkina Faso. Report that a bodyguard of President Ibrahim Traoré was offered millions of dollars to assassinate him. Is there truth to these rumors? Or is this another wave of misinformation in a region already grappling with instability? Stick with us as we unpack the details, explore the context, and separate fact from fiction. Now let's get started. For those unfamiliar, Ibrahim Traoré is Burkina Faso's military leader and one of Africa's youngest heads of state at just 37 years old. He came to power in September 2022 after a coup that ousted his predecessor, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Traoré, a captain in the Burkinabe army, has positioned himself as a revolutionary figure, promising to restore security, combat terrorism, and assert Burkina Faso's sovereignty against foreign influence. His leadership has drawn both fierce loyalty and intense criticism. In January 2022, Burkina Faso saw a military coup that ousted President Roch Kabore. The country was already in chaos. Jihadist groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State controlled 40% of the territory, and the government was struggling. A military junta called the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration took over, led by Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Traoré was part of this group, but by September 2022, he led a second coup to overthrow Damiba, accusing him of failing to tackle the security crisis. At just 36 years old, Traoré became the interim leader of Burkina Faso and the youngest head of state in the world. Since taking power, Traoré has made bold moves, cutting ties with former colonial power France, forging closer relations with Russia, and mobilizing local militias to fight jihadist groups plaguing the Sahel region. But his tenure hasn't been without challenges. Burkina Faso remains one of the world's most volatile nations, with over 40% of its territory controlled by insurgents and millions displaced due to violence. Traoré's rise to power wasn't just a military move, it was a statement. In his first speech, he declared a state of emergency, pointing to crises in security, defense, healthcare, and infrastructure. He promised to fight the jihadist threat and restore stability. Traoré's rise has also been marked by reports of coup attempts and assassination plots. In October 2024, officials confirmed he survived an assassination attempt, and earlier this month, on April 7, 2025, another alleged plot was foiled by his security team. These incidents have fueled speculation about who might want Traoré out of power and why. Now, let's get to the heart of today's story. In early April 2025, several reports surfaced on media platforms, exposing that one of Ibrahim Traoré's bodyguards was offered a staggering $5 million to assassinate him. The report, which originated from a video circulating online, alleges that foreign actors, or possibly internal rivals, approached a member of Traoré's close protection team with the bribe. But here's the catch. Despite many people struggling to understand or trace where this bribe is coming from, the handwriting is clear. It's none other than those seeking to remove Traoré from power by any means, through legal or illegal, by life or by death. I mean, many people have sworn never to allow Ibrahim Traoré rule Burkina Faso in peace. But despite everything, Traoré is always ahead of them, and that's one thing for sure. But here is the deal. Ibrahim Traoré, despite being the youngest leader in Africa, isn't a child in tackling issues like this. He has over the time declared against those seeking for his skull that he is not and will never be afraid to die. Top African leaders like Mohamed Gaddafi of Libya, Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, who were silenced to death as a result of trying to challenge what seems normal in the society of where the West reap everything in their land through economic policies, while the indigenous people get little to no benefit, gives Ibrahim Traoré the zeal to keep fighting for freedom. The video reportedly shows an individual claiming to have insider knowledge of the plot, but with fewer evidence, names, documents, or recordings made to the public. Posts on the media amplified the story, with some users speculating that Western powers, frustrated by Traoré's pivot away from France, could be behind it. Others point to internal divisions within Burkina Faso's military, where Traoré has faced resistance from senior officers since his coup. These claims, while gripping, raise panic. With fewer evidence to back it up, they risk fueling more panic in a country already on edge. Still, the allegations have sparked heated debate about Traoré's safety and the broader forces at play in Burkina Faso's political landscape. And also, this is a call for the Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to be more solid, attentive, and careful towards those around him, especially his securities. However, to understand why these claims are gaining traction, we need to look at the bigger picture. Burkina Faso is at a crossroads. The Sahel region, which includes Mali and Niger, has seen a wave of military coups since 2020, driven by frustration over insecurity and foreign influence. Traoré's leadership aligns with this trend, but it's also made him a polarizing figure. On one hand, Traoré enjoys strong support among young Burkinabés and Pan-Africanists who see him as a champion of sovereignty. His decision to expel French troops in 2023 and align with Russia's Wagner Group for security assistance won him praise from those skeptical of Western intervention. But these moves have also alienated powerful players. France, the United States, and regional bodies like ECOWAS have criticized Burkina Faso's junta, accusing it of delaying a return to civilian rule. But of what use or benefit will civilian rule be to the people of Burkina Faso when insecurities is still gripping the country? And this is the reason Ibrahim Traoré is still in charge, to give his best towards the insecurity crisis before stepping down. Then there's the internal angle. Traoré's rapid rise to power has reportedly caused friction within the military. In January 2025, he passed an amnesty law that some analysts believe was meant to appease senior officers linked to past coup attempts. Could these tensions be fueling plots against him? And if so, would a bodyguard, someone entrusted with his life, really be swayed by money? Here's where skepticism comes in. Bodyguards in high-risk environments like Burkina Faso are typically vetted rigorously. Betraying a leader like Traoré would carry immense personal and political consequences. Plus, the $5 million figure sounds almost too cinematic, like something out of a thriller. This isn't the first time Traoré's life has been reportedly targeted. In October 2024, Burkina Faso's government announced that a plot to assassinate Traoré was thwarted, with few details released. Then, on April 7, 2025, the Zambian Observer reported another attempt, allegedly stopped by Traoré's close protection team. Security was ramped up in the capital, Ouagadougou, with increased patrols signaling a serious threat. Traoré himself seems aware of the risks. In January 2025, he made headlines when he attended Ghana's presidential inauguration wearing a holstered pistol, a rare move for a head of state. Some saw it as a statement of defiance, others a sign of paranoia. Either way, it underscores the constant threat he perceives. These incidents highlight a grim reality. In a country as unstable as Burkina Faso, assassination plots, real or rumored, are almost inevitable. But they also raise questions about who benefits from spreading such plots. Are they meant to destabilize Traoré's regime, or are they a distraction from larger issues? Think about that for a second. 18 times someone has tried to take this man out. That's not just a statistic. It's a sign of how volatile things are in Burkina Faso. But who's behind these attempts? Some speculate it's internal military factions like the ones who tried to overthrow him in September 2023. Others suggest it could be fellow Africans working for Western powers who don't like Traore's anti-Western stance. After all, Burkina Faso has cut ties with traditional allies like the US and France, and Traore has openly criticized foreign influence, so we won't be surprised if they are the ones behind this. Traore's pivot toward Russia hasn't helped calm things down. In January 2024, Russian troops, including the Wagner Group, were deployed in Burkina Faso, a move that echoed similar Russian involvement in neighboring Mali. This shift has made Traore a hero to some who see him as a Pan-Africanist standing up to the West, but it's also painted a target on his back. And let's not forget the jihadist groups. He's fighting a war on multiple fronts, and not everyone in his own military is on his side. To understand why Traore's life is constantly at risk, we need to look at the bigger picture. The crisis in Burkina Faso. The Sahel region, where Burkina Faso is located, is one of the most unstable places on Earth right now. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, violent extremist groups like those linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State are growing stronger, controlling huge swaths of land. In Burkina Faso alone, 40% of the country is outside government control, and the humanitarian crisis is dire. Millions are displaced, and violence is a daily reality. Traore inherited a mess, but his approach has been controversial. He's doubled down on using Burkina Faso's own forces to fight jihadists, rejecting offers from groups like the Wagner Group for a while, though he eventually let them in. He's also made bold moves, like turning down Saudi Arabia's offer in 2025 to build 200 mosques, saying the country already has enough. That decision didn't sit well with some, but it shows Traore's focus on self-reliance. Still, the security situation hasn't improved much, and that's fueling discontent, both from civilians and within the military. So, where does this leave us? The bodyguard assassination claim remains a matter of investigation, and Burkina Faso's government hasn't commented directly on the $5 million claim. But the story's virality shows how quickly speculation can spread in a crisis-ridden region. For now, Traore appears resolute, continuing his push for security reforms and regional alliances through the Alliance of Sahel States. What happens next depends on Traore's ability to navigate these threats, both real and perceived. If the allegations are true, they point to deep vulnerabilities in his inner circle. If false, they're a reminder of how misinformation can weaponize fear. Either way, Burkina Faso's future hangs in the balance, and the world is watching. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Do you think there's truth to these claims? Or is this just noise in an already chaotic situation? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into global and real African issues like this. That's all for today's episode. A huge thank you for joining us as we explored this complex and unfolding story. If you want to stay updated on Burkina Faso and other global hotspots, hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. Until next time, stay out of trouble.